Hi, how are you? It's teacher Katia Medina once again for you with the classes of 11th grade, English for 11th grade. Last class, we were working with used to and would, and we were working with personal traits. Now, we missed a video for that part. So we're gonna see that video today, and let me show you what else we're gonna do today. Oh, I forgot. Remember to subscribe to my Google Classroom account, okay? You go into Google Classroom, and then this is the class code. I forgot about that, sorry. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do today. Today we're gonna be reviewing the personality traits we talked about last class, and then we're gonna review once again used to and would, and then we're gonna watch the video I told you about. Last class I told you about the video from Grandma and Grandpa, and we didn't show it, but we're gonna show it today, okay? So let's begin with the personality traits. I know that you recognize this because we used it last class, and these are personality traits and their descriptions. So we have a person who doesn't love to communicate with people. We have over here thoughtful, social, quiet, heartless, good-natured, unfriendly, easygoing, and tense. And then we know that if he doesn't like to communicate with people, he might be quiet, right? Okay, so a person who is relaxed in attitude or manner, so, you know, they take everything easy, it's an easygoing person. A person who thinks about others or other people's feelings is thoughtful. A person who is not relaxed in attitude or manner is tense. Remember the guy with the watch and everything on his hands and feet? He was like always tense. A person who is not nice and friendly to other people is unfriendly. I think another word was horrible. So you can say, oh, she's a horrible person, but not me. Okay, then we have a person who loves communicating with people is social, talkative, yes? A person who is nice and friendly to other people is good natured. Remember there was the guy helping the old lady with the supermarket bags? Okay, and then a person who doesn't think about other people's feeling is heartless, and there was a heart in blue, which is like cold, okay? Good. So, and we did some opposites, some practices where we said warm is, the opposite of warm is cold, the opposite of talkative is shy, the opposite of cheerful, gloomy, and the opposite of caring, cold-hearted. Pay attention because we're gonna do a little quiz on this, okay? Okay, so we have other personality traits. A person who doesn't like to work, we have frank, intolerant, deceitful, diligent, flexible, sluggish, undetermined, and confident. And a person who is sluggish is a person who doesn't like to work. A person who tells the truth is a person who is frank. And it's not Frank the name, remember, it's Frank. A person who is often, open to different views, open. So it's a flexible person. A person who doesn't tell the truth is deceitful. This is a very interesting word, deceitful. A person who tells you things, but they don't tell you the thing like correctly. They miss out words so you understand different things. A person who intends to reach his or her goals is a confident person, determined person. A person who doesn't know what they want, they're, you know, undetermined, undecided, they don't know what they want. A person who loves working is diligent. My mother used to use that word a lot. Diligent, a person who finds ways of doing things. And a person who is closed to new ideas. They are not flexible. They are intolerant, and that is the person with the big padlock on their head. Okay. Other opposites, practice, remember this is a practice. Truthful, liar, flexible, intolerant, confident, indecisive, diligent, lazy. It's very important that you see that sometimes I change the words. So For diligent, I put lazy. So it's a person who doesn't like to work. And diligent is a person who likes to work, okay? So let's take a look at this practice. Over here we have some opposites of these over here. So what would be the opposite of cheerful? Cheerful, a person who is always happy. Which over here do you think is the opposite? Yes, gloomy. So a person who is not happy, you can say, she's always gloomy, like sad, okay? A person who is a liar is also, the contrary of liar is truthful. The contrary of intolerant, flexible, and we also have the word tolerant, okay? The contrary of shy is talkative. Indecisive, the contrary is confident. So if you know a person who doesn't decide what to do, but you don't know how to say it, you know that's indecisive, and if you want to say the opposite, then the person is confident. A lazy person is the contrary of diligent, and we have warm, the contrary is cold, and the person who is caring thinks about other people's feelings, and the contrary would be cold-hearted. Okay. This is regarding personality traits. Now we're going to go to a bit of a review on used to and would. We also saw this last class, but in order to take a look at the video and have an idea of it, we are going to look at it one more time. Okay, so we have to talk about regular or repeated actions in the past, we can use both, used to and would. And the example says, when I was a schoolboy, I used to go to school by bus. When I was a schoolboy, I would go to school by bus. The thing here is important, is that these actions do not happen anymore. They used to happen, but they're not happening anymore. We have the structure for used to. So we have used to in the past, but when we use it in the negative, didn't used to, you use misses the D. And if you use it in the question, did you used to, once again, the verb use doesn't have a D, okay? For would, we have would or wouldn't, but if we use it to talk about something in the past, we do not use the interrogative form, okay? Good. So we have another way to use used to for permanent actions in the past. We only use used to for permanent actions in the past. That means we do not use would. Let's take a look at some examples of permanent actions in the past. I used to live in New York 10 years ago. I used to work for a big company. I used to study a lot. So these are actions that are long and kind of permanent. So we usually don't use would for them. We use used to with stative verbs. And stative verbs are the ones that talk about states. Let's take a look at what are stative verbs. So I used to like ice cream as a kid. I used to know a lot of songs. She used to own a big house. Like, know, and own are stative verbs. And we did an example. We spoke a little bit about stative verbs. So these are the stative verbs: love, hate, appear, belong, believe, own, wish, understand, know. So these are stative verbs. They are usually used with used to, not with would. And these stative verbs are not used in the progressive form with the ing. We have some examples here. So I say I don't know the answer. I don't say I am not knowing the answer. You either know it or not. She really likes you. You don't say she's really liking you. And you don't say he is seeming happy. He's happy or not. Or he seems happy. I look at him and I think he's happy, or I don't think he's happy. So it's not, you don't use it in the present continuous. These are other examples of stative verbs, and they are all in the PowerPoint presentation. We have thoughts and opinions. We have agree, believe for feelings and emotions. We have dislike, hate, prefer for senses and perceptions, and possession and measurement. Now, there is a way in which we can use stative verbs with would. And this is when we use frequency adverbs. So we could say, we would sometimes feel lonely in that place. We would often forget she would often forget her students' names. I would sometimes see her near my house. So we have would, and we have a frequency adverb and the stative verbs. Then in this case, we would use. Now, we have a little practice here, and I want you to take a look at this practice and try to do it, okay? Try to do the practice. Okay? So it says, when I was young, we used to live in a big house in the countryside, or would live. Used to live. On summer mornings, my brother and I, while everyone else was asleep, we have used to go fishing. Let's see if they are correct. We breakfast and then go quietly out of the house. We would have or had breakfast. Which one? Okay, they choose would have. We hours fishing in a small boat belonging to my grandmother. So we have would spend. Very good. My brother, the names of all different types of fish. We have would know or used to know. Remember, know is a stative verb, so we don't use it with would. We use it with used to. We would often fall asleep in the boat, and our father would come to find us. Was coming is not part of this grammar part. And then we have but that, we have wouldn't get or didn't used to get, and we're talking about angry, so we don't use would. Once, and then we have caught an enormous fish. I was so happy. And we have 100%. Excellent. 100% for this. Very good. Okay. So now we're going to the video on grandmother and grandfather. Grandma and grandpa, okay? We're going to call them grandma and grandpa. We're going to watch the video, and we're going to be working with some questions on the video. So please try to listen, and there are going to be subtitles so you can read also, okay? There we go.
Grandma, what did you look like when you were a little girl?
I was blonde, and I used to have long hair, just like you.
And what were you like?
I used to be playful and talkative.
What about you, Grandpa?
I used to be very shy. Whenever a stranger came to our house, I would hide in a closet.
Did you used to have lots of fun when you were kids?
When I was a child, I used to play hide and seek with my brother and my sister. It was my favorite game. I would also jump the rope with my friends, and we would often play moms and dads as kids. We played outdoors a lot. We also liked playing hopscotch. We used to draw the squares on the ground with chalk.
Kids still play these games. That's unbelievable.
What about you, Grandpa?
My brother and I would spend the day walking around the neighborhood, visiting other kids on the block and playing games. We used to have wooden scooters, and we would ride them every day. Sometimes we would make paper planes.
I have a scooter too, and I can also make paper planes.
That's great.
Excellent. So I hope you paid attention or read everything that Grandma and Grandpa spoke about, because I'm going to ask questions, okay? Good. So how did Grandma describe her hair and her personality. Do you remember? How did Grandma describe her hair and her personality? So she said, I used to have long hair. I used to be playful and talkative. So her description is have long hair, and her the way she was, her personality was playful and talkative. So if a friend of yours asks you, what was your grandma like when she was little? Then you can say this. Oh, my grandma used to have long hair, because we like to talk about our grandmas, right? And she used to be playful and talkative. So yes, if somebody, you can talk about your grandma this way, okay? Now let's take a look at Grandpa. So how does Grandpa describe his personality? I used to be very shy. I would hide in the closet. So if somebody asks you, what was your grandpa like when he was a kid? You can say, he used to be very shy. He would hide in the closet. You're missing a T there. He would hide in the closet, okay? Let's take a look at the other sentences they talk about. So, what games did Grandma used to play when she was a child? She used to play hide and seek. She would also jump rope. They would often play moms and dads. They used to draw the squares on the ground. Okay? These are all sentences I just took from the video, okay? So pay attention, because after I read this, I'm going to give you a little quiz. What did Grandpa used to do when he was a child? He would spend the day walking around the neighborhood. They used to have wooden scooters. They would ride them, the wooden scooters, every day. And sometimes they would make paper planes, okay? So, let's take a look at this. Here you have sentences that are not in order. How would you order them? Take a look at them, please. I'm going to give you some seconds. Look at this one. Used to, hide and seek, Grandma, play. The other one, jump rope, would, she. And the other one, moms and dads, often, they, play, and would. Okay? Can you describe the sentence? Can you say the sentence? Okay? If you can, let me tell you, if you have your answer, and let me tell you which are the answers over here so you can check if you have it correct. So the first one will be Grandma used to play hide and seek. Did you get it? Great. The second one, she would jump rope. Very good. The third one, they would often play moms and dads. Okay, I have one more for you. One more. Look at this one. We have spend, around, would, the, walking, they, he, neighborhood. Remember, you have to try to order it from the sentences we already saw, okay? Then the other one, we have wooden, used to, scooters, they, and have. And the other one, we have paper planes, make, sometimes, they, and would. So how would you order the sentence? Are you ready? Okay, let's go to the first one. He would spend the day walking around the neighborhood. Very good. Let's go to the second one. They used to have wooden scooters. The last one. Sometimes they would make paper planes. Okay?
Did you have any fairy tale books?
Yes, sometimes my mother would read us some tales before going to sleep, but we didn't have too many books.
Did you like any sport when you were kids?
I used to take ballet classes because I wanted to be a ballerina.
I used to play baseball. I was good at it and used to be selected as the #1 player. I was popular among my peers.
Yay! Okay, so remember, I'm going to be asking questions about the video. Okay, this was a small part. This part talks about sports and what kind of sports they did when they were children, okay? So let's take a look at the sentences. And remember that after we take a look at the sentences, we're going to have a little quiz. So read. The first part says, sometimes Grandma's mother would read them some tales before going to sleep. Grandma used to take ballet classes. Grandpa used to play baseball. And he used to be selected as the #1 player. So, take a look at this quiz. Take a look at this quiz. Where would you put the numbers? We have, sometimes Grandma's mother would do what? Grandma used to what? And Grandpa used to what? And he, talking about Grandpa, used to be what? Okay, so let's take a look which are the answers. Did you get them? Because I want to give you some time so you try to answer them. Good. Sometimes Grandma's mother, #2, would read them some tales before going to sleep. Grandma used to, #3, take ballet classes. Grandpa used to play baseball. Excellent. And he used to be selected as the #1 player. Very good. Okay, so now this is something that's coming with the next video. We have didn't use, we have the used to in the negative. Didn't use to, okay, in the negative. Now, I want you to listen to the video, read or watch the video and tell me which are the 2 sentences that have didn't used to and have wear uniforms and offer lunch. Try to identify the sentences and then we're going to discuss them after the video.
When you were kids, I really want to know.
Well, students used to respect their teachers very much. We would always obey them. I can remember Mrs. Elizabeth, my 3rd grade teacher, very well. When we arrived each morning, she would sit at her desk. She would always smile and say hello to each student as they entered. When the bell rang, she would stand up and clear her throat. That meant we were supposed to be quiet so that the class could start.
Teachers were usually very strict. If the children were naughty, they had to stand in the corner. Our teacher would even hit our palms with the ruler.
That must have hurt quite a lot.
Yes, it did.
Did you wear uniforms?
No, we didn't used to wear uniforms. We used to wear our everyday clothes to school.
Was there a cafeteria in your school?
No, the schools did not used to offer lunch to students. Every student would carry their own food and water from home.
But I bet you didn't have homework when you were in school, did you?
Students used to have homework back then, too.
Really? Wow.
Did you used to walk to school?
Yes, I used to walk to school with my siblings because we lived close to the school.
My school was not close to my home, so I would go by bus.
Okay, so did you get that? Teachers used to hit students on the hand when they were naughty, but now we can't do that. So that is something that's different from the back. Okay, now remember I told you to pay attention. When did they use didn't use to? Okay? So the 2 sentences, I hope you got them right, are we didn't used to wear uniforms and the schools did not used to offer lunch. And this is interesting because In the first sentence, they say didn't used to, and in the second one, they separate it and they say did not used to. So you know that you can use both forms, okay? Good. Now, for this last part, I want you to pay attention when they talk about technology. They're going to talk about things that they used to do regarding communication, regarding music, and regarding TV. So now you're going to watch, and please pay attention. Communication, music, and TV. What do they say about that? We have the video.
Or a computer?
No, of course not. There were no smartphones or computers back then.
Really? Then how did you use to contact your friends and relatives?
We used to go to a phone booth with lots of coins. Or we would write letters. But it would take days before they were delivered.
Life seems hard without technology.
We used to have a record player. We would listen to our favorite songs.
What about TV?
We had a black and white TV. I remember we would sit in front of the TV in the evenings watching movies.
Okay, very good. So, remember, we were talking about technology. Let's see. Okay, so in communication, they say there were no, do you remember what they said about there were no regarding communication? They used to go, they would, okay? So there were no, they used to go to, and they would, I'm just giving you a hint, okay? Regarding music, they used to have, and it's not a CD, and they would listen to what? And regarding TV, they had, and they would sit. So let's see if the words that you said are the ones that are here. There were no smartphones or, I say smartphone, computers, okay? There were no smartphones or computers. They used to go to a phone booth. So the phone booth is a place where you have a public phone, we call it here in Panama, a public phone. But I don't think we have many public phones around, okay? And they also, to communicate with people, they would also write letters, okay? Write letters. And the only bad thing is that it took a long time. Now we have email, right? So everything goes fast. So regarding music, they used to have a record player. So a record player used to play, it was like a CD, but a big CD, okay? And you had to play it with a needle, okay? And then we have music. They would listen to their favorite songs. And regarding TV, they had a black and white TV, and they would sit in front of the TV in the evenings and watch television, watch movies, whatever program was on the TV. Now, very important. I want you to take a look at this, wear and had. I did use used to here or would. These are verbs that are in the past. Yes, wear and had, because when we talk about the past, we can also use verbs in the past. For our next class, we are going to talk about verbs in the past. We're going to talk about the simple past. And before that class, I am going to give you a little hint of what we're going to take a look at for next class, which is the simple past. I want you to pay attention to the video. It's very short, because that same video is going to be showed next class, the whole video, and we're going to be talking about the simple past. And we're going to be looking at a lot of verbs, so you have to be ready. So let's take a look at the video.
GoEnglish.tv. The past simple.
How do we form the past simple? Affirmative.
Subject plus verb in past tense plus object.
We ate some lovely pizzas last night.
Conjugating the past simple. Affirmative.
I washed the car. You washed the car. He washed the car. She washed the car. We washed the car. They washed the car.
So this is a very little video, and it's about what we're going to be looking at next class, which is a simple past. And simple past is kind of tricky because we have regular verbs and irregular verbs. And regular verbs have a way of being in the past, of being written in the past, and irregular verbs is another thing. And I have a song for you to learn all the irregular verbs. It's a kind of long song, about 4 minutes, but it has almost all irregular verbs in it, and you're gonna like it. So, but before that class, I have a little homework for you here. So we're going to remember the interview, the used to interview. In my Google Classroom, I already have 15 students in my Google Classroom from Conéctate con la Estrella, and they have a homework. They have to write a composition with used to and would. They have to interview someone and give me a picture of the person they interview. So I hope I get some compositions for next class. And then we are also going to talk about people from the past. So because we're going to use verbs, we are also going to talk about important people from the past. So think about your favorite person from the past. Who is that person? And maybe read a little bit about them and check out the verbs that are used to talk about that person in the past. And we will see each other next class. Remember the homework, and remember to stay safe, stay at home, and always wash your hands and be with the people you love. Take care.